All right, Coach Etherton is here. He is the head coach at Mount Zion High School by Decatur or in Decatur, Illinois. Coach, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, and look forward to talking some football.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you in years. It's been years.
It's been a while. I think back when you were at Charleston, so it's been a long time.
Those were the dark ages, as I call them.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so before we talk about all that stuff, tell because I have talked to you before, but I don't really know what got you into coaching, like before Mount Zion, like what made you want to coach? How'd you end up Mount Zion? Because I know you were at Millikin for a little bit. You had different stops. So how did that all start?
Yeah, so I played football in Millikin back in the day. So that was really it. And then I got done. I wanted to continue to coach. So I was a student assistant for a few years in Millikin. And then I went and coached out at Allegheny College in Pennsylvania, Division III school. Then I was there for a year, and then I went to University of Puget Sound, Tacoma, Washington, for about 8 months, one season, and then went to Washington Jefferson College in south of Pittsburgh for about a year and a half. And then I was at Millikin for 12 years, seven as an assistant, and then five as the head coach there at Millikin. And during that time, I was living in Mount Zion. My wife's from Mount Zion, and the head coach here at Mount Zion left at the same time that I was leaving Millikin, and it worked out. I've been in Mount Zion for 8 years, so 15 years of college football and 8 years here, and we're still rolling.
Yeah, because I remember when you stepped down, because we all know you and I know Coach Hogan, like when I was at Charleston, and the Mount Zion job had opened up, and he said something to me about, hey, either go for it or whoever gets it, you need to go to Mount Zion. Then you got it. He goes, oh, you got to go. You got to go. And I'm like, no, I'm the OC at Charleston. I'm going to stay. So he said nothing but good things. He's like, you got to go. And I was like, no, 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 I'll stay. Um, but what was the transition like going from like a college back into high school?
Yeah, I never coached high school before, so it was different. I tell the story that really the kind of the eye-opening deal was like the first time we lined up on the field, and we were on a hash and in practice, and college hashes are a little bit closer to the middle,
Mhm.
and we went to put formation in the boundary or something, and we're like, holy cow, there's no space there.
Right.
That was really kind of the first eye-opening deal of like, hey, this is going to be a little different, just a field setup. Really the hashes was the only thing. And then other than that, I mean, football's football. We do the same stuff that we did in Millikin. I got the same defense coordinator I had for 5 years in Millikin. He's been with me the whole time, Mount Zion, Dan Patempa, and he's awesome. And then, a lot of our assistant coaches here at Mount Zion are guys who played for me in college,
Mhm.
played in Millikin, and they are in the area. And really, I mean, it makes it great because we do a lot of the same stuff that we did there, and when they were players. And so the transmission's been good. It's been different with the kids. I don't have to go and recruit.
Mhm.
I recruit the hallways, but we're lucky. Our kids want to play football and they want to go out, and I don't have to do a lot of recruiting the hallways, but I don't have to recruit on the all winter. I don't have to go to
Yeah.
school, so that's been nice for my family and I. And then the nice thing is all the kids go to home to their parents.
Right.
And college. They were in the dorms and sometimes making some poor choices. And I had some weekends where they made some poor choices and had to deal with that a lot more than I do here at Mount Zion. And we got a great community, we got great kids and great families, and it's really led to a lot of success for us.
I was about to say, do you miss college at all? Maybe not now with the
I,
whole transfer portal.
yeah, I mean, college really the landscape's changed a lot since I've been here, and even before the transfer portal was the recruiting aspect. In college, everybody started recruiting early and earlier and earlier,
Mhm.
and you're starting on, classes ahead. And, we at the when I was there, the summers, we weren't doing a lot. We couldn't be with the players in the summer by NCAA rules. And summer recruiting wasn't really a big deal. But now with all the camps and the mega camps and all that, I mean, the Division III guys are going all over the place and doing things, Division II as well. So that part, I don't miss that grind at all. I don't miss the recruiting grind. I don't miss calling kids and texting kids and all that stuff every night. And I get a lot more time with my kids, my own personal kids, and But the summers are different. In the summer we can do football.
Yeah.
We're in college. The Division III level, you couldn't do anything, and so that's changed a lot, and that's been, great. We do our stuff in the morning, and then gives us the rest of the day to be with our families, and but I miss some parts of it. I miss the doing football all the time.
Hmm.
I teach high school science, so I teach all day, which I enjoy teaching, but and you're a football coach, and we were literally football all day, and that was our
Right.
job. So I miss that part, but I miss some of my friendships a little bit. Guys that are still in college, and guys that have moved on, and we're lucky right now. We got some kids that we're getting everybody to stop by. A
Hmm.
lot of Division I and a lot of schools stop by Mount Zion, so I've gotten to see a lot of friends and reconnect and talk to people. So it's been good, and but there's positive negatives on both. So, but I'm happy. I got a great place, and we got things going the right direction.
Yeah, I was about to. A joke was that you almost have more resources at Mount Zion than Millikin at one point when you took it. Like that was kind of
Yeah,
like a joke when you took it, like at Charleston, which you take what those people say with a grain of salt. But it was like, hey, they just got that. You guys got the indoor facility, you had the turf, and it was like, wow, maybe they have more stuff there than
we
Millikin.
got. I mean, Mount Zion. We got some unbelievable stuff. Our field house is really really nice. Our turf field, our weight room. We've redone the locker room since I've been here. We're really lucky, just community support, and people bought in and have bought into the program. They want to be successful, and they want the kids to have a great experience. So, I mean, we continue to upgrade our facilities and give our kids the best experience possible in athletics.
So when you took over, what was kind of your first step of like, I hate the culture word because it's a buzzword, but I don't know what else to call it. So like when you came in, like how did you incorporate all that?
I mean, we just do things the way we do things. And I don't love the culture word either. I don't think we don't talk about it. We just talk about, hey, this is how we do things. And Dan Patempa's been with me for 13 years, 14 years. I mean, we've been in college together. We are in each other's weddings, and our best friends. And so it's not about our culture. It's about, hey, this is how we do
Mhm.
things. These are our expectations. This is just how we do it. And even we had kids buy in, and we had to first kind of teach them how we practice and what we look for and how we do it. And that was a little change. But then, we got a bunch of guys who are, former college players. So
Mhm.
they've been through the practices. They know what we do. They know our terminology. They know what our expectations are. When I say stuff, we can talk about, hey, remember, back in the day when we did it here, we did this, we ran the route this way. And those guys, I mean, really, I mean, it's huge. And I think that's just paid off into our kids, and our kids have bought into it, and they know what to expect now. And man, they get it. And we don't talk about culture. We just talk about, hey, here's how we do things. This is why we do it. We do it because this is our way. It's everybody's different. I know that Derek does a bunch of things probably different than we do.
Oh,
I mean, in some of the schools we play, and we just do things our way. So
right.
it's worked for us.
What was it like coming in and then having to work with maybe all the other sports in the school? Because Mount Zion's just an athletic school. Even when I was coaching there, like every sport seems to be competitive. Was it a tough thing to work with them at all? You just walk in and just say, hey guys, we're gonna work together and get this done.
No, I mean we've had some great coaches, and right now our basketball coach Dale Shuring, I mean, shoot, they're 31-1. They're playing in the sectionals. We've got 3 of the 5 starters are football guys, and then I think 9 of like the 15 are football guys. So no, we have zero problem. It was the summer. Hey, here's what I like to do in the summer. Here's what he wants to do, and we split it up, and we lift in the mornings, and then he comes in after that, so the kids can do both, and they get a little
Mhm.
break in between, and then we try not to schedule a whole bunch of competitions. And with Division I recruiting really going into June, and kind of switching their calendar to June and taking off July, we've done a little more 7-on-7s early in the year than we wanted to in the beginning, partially because we got some Division I guys.
Mhm.
We got some kids that people want to see. So last couple of years we've traveled and done a little bit more than what we have in the past. But I mean, really, and our track coaches were the same. I mean, I coached track for a little bit when Coach Harbeck was sick, and I mean, it's we got 750 kids in the school. We need kids to do all sports. We
Right.
need kids to do two, three sports. If we want to be successful in anything, and that's the thing is if our kids all did one sport, Mount Zion, we wouldn't be very successful. We just can't afford that.
Right.
But I mean, our basketball kids are track kids, and our basketball kids are, football kids and baseball kids, and I mean, cross country kids. I mean, we're doing it all. I mean, which is how it should be in a school like us.
Right. Because then you wouldn't have those Division I guys maybe showing up because they like they you love multi-sport athletes, and you're asking me about up here, just kids are trying to do one thing, just one, and it's been mainly baseball, and I hate it so much. The travel baseball stuff is killing me, and it started to happen when I was at Charleston. That was the first time I'd seen it. Then up here, it's just this sport team being made, this sport team being made. I'm going to quit this sport to do just this. And I have my Central Illinois, in my mind, I'm like, you got to do all three. My school had 300 kids. I'm like, you have to do all of it.
Yeah.
Nah, we're going to do just this.
Yeah, no, I think that's really hurting kids. And I mean, we're lucky we got a couple Division I kids, but shoot, our Division I kids are playing basketball. As soon as
Yeah,
basketball's over, they're going to go do track. And then in the summer, we've got to, some days we just have to tell them take it easy because they're worn out, and
right.
they're doing so much. But I don't. I mean, I'm against that. I don't know. We don't have kids that specialize in one sport. We're lucky. We're far enough south that away from Chicago, we don't have to worry
Yeah.
about 7-on-7 teams. Our kids aren't, on travel 7-on-7 teams. I mean, they're with us. They're doing our stuff. Yeah, we don't have to fight that. So we're pretty fortunate in that area.
Well, I have to educate people that south of I-80, there's football and there's a life up here. I'm like, hey, there's good sport teams down south of I-80, and they're like, what's that?
Yeah, I mean I used to recruit Chicago, and I've been up there in the suburbs, and been in St. Louis, recruited there, and recruited in Indianapolis, and I mean, there's good football everywhere, and and once you get south of I-80, people think it really drops off, but I mean, there's if you just stop over at Rochester and look at the number of trophies they have, I mean, in 4A and even 5A, the couple of years there, I mean, there's some really good football. And we're 45 minutes from Rochester, so we get to see them and see that a little bit throughout the year, and there's some really good football in Central Illinois and even Southern Illinois. You see some of
Oh,
those
yeah.
teams down there, and some big kids down there, and they do things the right way, and they may run the wing T, and they may run a little different offenses, but they got some kids who can play.
Yeah, it's real funny. So the Chicago Bears outreach program started a 7-on-7, and they started it 2 years ago. We've been in it twice. The first year was at a school called Fenton High School, which is right down the street from us. And we're there, and I looked at the list, and it said Rochester was coming, and everybody's like, well, "Who's Rochester?" And I start laughing. I'm like the kids and stuff, and I'm like, "Well, you'll see." And they show up, and their offensive line are in cowboy boots and their hats, and I start laughing, and I'm like, "This is the best thing ever." And everybody's like, "Who is that?" I was like, "Well, that's Rochester," and they're big linemen at the time. And they're like, well, how many kids are in that school? And I said, and they're like, oh, psh, like the kids. They're like, and we're not a powerhouse by any stretch. And some other teams like, psh, and I was like, okay, they won the whole thing. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
see,
yeah. He had, I think, a couple years ago they had some really good linemen. I think 2 years ago that class had some big kids, and I think they had some farm kids in there, and
oh
some
yeah,
kids who are. I don't think they were as much like that this year. But they got some good players, and they got some big physical kids over there. It's
yeah.
shown.
Well, they came this year, and now our kids that were in it the year before were like, "Where's Rochester? Are they gonna show up in the cowboy boots again?" Stuff. So now they knew they didn't show up like that, but they were like, we had to play their a team dropped out, so they Rochester had enough kids to make a second team, so we had to play their second team. They're like, Psh, we got to play their second team. I was like, guys, shut up. They're gonna be good. And we went toe to toe. We lost in the last seconds on the 7-on-7. We were like toe to toe, and I was like, imagine if we played the real dudes. But the
Yeah.
thing I respect is all their coaches were coaching varsity, JV all at once. I'm like, that's the standard that he set there.
Yeah, I mean, he does a great job, and obviously it's worked out. And I mean, they got some great assistant coaches as well. And I mean, you can tell. I mean, when you watch them play, and even if 7-on-7, I mean, their kids are getting coached up and coached up the right way.
Right. You guys should join it. You guys should come on up here and go against some of these.
I try to avoid Chicago as much as possible. I don't like the traffic. I don't like sitting in traffic. I've done that. We go to U of I for theirs, and then we try to find a few around here and try to find some schools, bigger schools that we're not going to see. And I mean, I think everybody takes a different approach. I mean, with the 11 on 11 and the ability to do that in the summer now, and I don't know. I mean, we've done both. We last year we did some joint practices, and we've done where we just done 7 on 7, and I think everybody's got a different opinion on it, and we're going to go back to doing a little more 7 on 7 this year and less 11 on 11, and play our week 0 scrimmage or whatever we want to call it, and we're playing Williamsville on that, so we're going to see some really good football there, but really, I mean, I don't know what's the right way. I don't know which way is the correct way. I think everybody's got a different outlook on it, but we'll see. Hopefully it works.
Yeah, that's the only 7 on 7 we do. It's just because there's a lineman challenge with it too. So it's like, oh, the linemen get to do something. You have a chance to win money for your school. That's always why we try. And we're trying to host it. We were going to host it, but we're going to get new turf this year, so it's going to get torn up. So that's the reason why we do it. We do a joint practice with, last year we did with 3 other schools. They came and just went against each one, and that was it. We just do it one time. And we love
Yeah.
it because kind of eye opening for our kids. Like there's a school up here called Burlington Central. I think they have 1,100 kids, and they were like, oh, whatever. And they came in and just beat us to death. And I'm like, guys, this is what's going to happen in the season. Like, that's the only thing I like about it is, oh, you get to see someone you're not going to play.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I mean, I think every year's different. I think last year our thought was we had a bunch of seniors. We wanted to see, those kids in some 11 on 11 this year. We don't have as many seniors. We got some pretty talented skill kids, but we're going to, we'll see a little bit of that, but I think we're going to, we go up to Sterling High School. We do a
Mhm.
little 7 on 7 there. We're going to go to Metamora this summer. We're going to go to U of I. We're going to go to Chatham. So we'll get to see enough competition, and our linemen will do some stuff, probably some local schools just to see them. But we got over 100 kids on the team, so we'll be able to line up some guys. And
You want to send some up our way? We could use 100 kids.
we've been lucky. I mean, we had 41 freshmen last year, and a lot of those kids are still sticking with us. We have 35 freshmen signed up for this year. Plus we've, I mean, I think our last numbers we had are over 105 to 110. So, we got some big classes, which is good. And, I think that says a lot about our program, what our kids are doing when we get, 100 kids out and we got, 750 in the high school total.
Yeah.
So we're pretty lucky.
Yeah. We have 1,800 and we can't, we'd be lucky if we got that, but I doubt it did it to you. I mean, I know it didn't do COVID killed us. The head coach took over January of 2020 and then COVID hit. So for him, it was like he had kids in the weight room and COVID hits. And then we all know what happens there. You guys played by different rules. We were up here doing by different rules. I was stuck in the middle. Do you see this thumb?
Yeah.
I don't mean to do that. It just does it. So don't think I'm doing it on purpose. Other podcast college coaches, they didn't say a word. My buddy was on here. He goes, Steve, what are you doing? And I'm like, you could see that? And they're like, he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, these college coaches probably think I'm bored and I'm hitting buttons. I swear.
That's awesome. That was a nice thumbs up though.
Yeah, that's a thumbs up for you right there.
Now COVID was, COVID was rough. I mean, it was rough for everybody. And I mean, my wife works in healthcare, and I mean, we saw some things and some, it is rough. It was a rough time. And our 2019 team was good.
Yeah.
We returned a lot of those kids in 2020. We would have been good. Really good. We returned all our skilled kids from the year before, and we were 10-1 that year and lost to Joliet Catholic in the second round of the playoffs. And in 2020, I think we'd have been, just as good, if not better. But it, is what it is. I mean, we've moved on, and I think it hurt a lot of schools. Fortunately for us, it didn't hurt us too bad.
Yeah, it hurt us just to get kids out. I remember that up here, depending on what school you're at, I walked out there because I took the job in that summer at the school. And I was like, COVID won't last this long. And of course, I walked out there. We were allowed to be around the kids in October. I walked out there. There was like 30 linemen, and me and the D lineman coach looked at each other and we're like, "Oh, we could split it in two, like
Yeah.
whatever." It got, we kicked the can down the road to the spring. Everything was cut in half. Like our kids were like, "I'm going to work. I'm going to do this." Parents were like, "We're not going to let them play." And then we're starting to recover from it. But like when people think of suburb schools, I think we just have all this stuff, and we're a school. That's where the small town thing comes in. We have to recruit the hallway. We have to do this. I coach all three sports at the school. I can try to recruit, try to recover. Other schools around us did not have that issue. They were just like, but the Lombard Wests of the world, like they didn't have that problem.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure the Napervilles and all that didn't have any trouble, and all those schools. I mean, Bolingbrook, I doubt they had any trouble
No,
with that. And
no.
man, it's just everybody's different. I mean, and the thing about like IHSA football is that we have you have northern part of Chicago all the way down to southern Illinois.
Yeah.
And during the COVID deal, I mean, there was a big difference between the thoughts in northern Illinois and the thoughts in southern Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think even school district wise,
Mm-hmm.
so everybody's different, but that's in the past, and hopefully, and I'm sure they'll never be back. And I don't think we'll have to ever worry about it again. But it was a wild time, and I think when we look back at pictures and stuff and tell stories about 20 years from the road, people will think we're crazy. But it was what it was, and it's over, and
Well,
now it's on to other stuff.
I think that might have been the first time I felt like a college coach because you were coaching that spring, then it trying to do it again in the fall. And I don't know if you were doing track at the time, but I did track, football, or no, basketball, football, track. We went back to normal in the summer. And then when the fall came, I was burnt out like no other. I
Yeah.
was
Oh, I
dead.
was doing track then. Yeah, the state championship in track was like the end of June or something. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah.
And then our kids were right back into it. I know we had some injuries in that fall, and I'm sure some of it had to do with just kids being worn out. I mean, kids that
Yeah.
were doing multiple sports, and I mean, there's just no recovery time, and they weren't used to it. So,
Wow.
I think that hurt, but
Yeah.
never again, and
Never again.
it
We
should
did the
be.
same thing. We went through five quarterbacks that fall, five quarterbacks, three tight ends. My offensive lineman starting lineup was never the same each game. And looking back at it, I think it was just kids were worn down. And then now every school has recovered from that. But at the time, you're just like, we were like, what is going on? We were our fifth, our wide receiver was playing quarterback. We're like, what? Like, I'm standing there going, looking at the OC. I'm like, you can't call a pass play. We're going to have to run the ball every play. And
Yeah.
we didn't have a play sheet at the end. We were just like, run it to the right, do it to the right again. All right, let's try the middle. All right. Like nothing.
Yeah. Some crazy times. So, at least, that's moved on. And, now with, the other rules, I mean, now we're allowed, 11 on 11 in the summer, and we're allowed a week zero scrimmage. And I mean, that's, now we're moving in, hopefully at some point we get some spring stuff,
Uh-huh.
where we can actually do some stuff. And, I know that they try to change the contact days in the summer and it didn't go through, trying to cut that, but I think things are now going in the right direction. We somewhat have figured it out,
Yep.
uh, it'll be interesting this year. See how many teams do a week zero scrimmage and how they do it, and the thoughts on it afterwards. And in college, we always had a scrimmage. You always had a preseason scrimmage,
Yep.
and we did some different things, and we did some unique stuff. I thought that we would do 2 minute drill. We do an overtime period. We would do like third downs. We do some red zone, like high, like 20 and in. And we did different scenarios. And, then we do a little bit of like true, like, 1 quarter, I think, of what it was. And we would get guys subbed in. So, I think teams will probably do stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
and we'll try to do stuff that's not normal, that you can't replicate in practice. I mean, we can replicate first down plays all day in practice, but, we start doing 2 minute drill, and start doing stuff that's, not normal, against other people.
Right.
I think you can, take big advantage of it.
Right. We don't know if we're going to do one or not. Like, because then it was brought up to us, well, what about our scrimmage night for the school? Or we have to do both. And so that's the next step is I don't know. Who knows? We might take a step back and just see how other people do it.
Yeah, I mean Williamsville's coming to us. I mean we only have 3 home games this year in our regular season, and Coach Coons is a good guy, and he's willing. They're going to come over to us, and I know that some people are really concerned about, hey, if we lose that home game or we lose that scrimmage, that's our red and white or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
but we've got it worked out, and Coach Coon's a good guy, and we're going to be able to do all 3 levels that night, and get all of our kids out there, and it should be. I mean, we'll have a hell of a crowd because they'll bring a bunch of people, and we'll have a ton of people, and it'll be a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. Um, oh, you said something interesting and I just forgot what it was. This happens when you're getting old. I'm getting old and I forget.
Yeah.
Um, so when you got to Mount Zion, you said you want to do like some things you did in college. Was any of it like a bump in the road, or did you have to tweak anything, or was it pretty simplified?
It was we had to kind of look at, some of it was like route distances. I mean, our college kids were a little bit faster, and like some of our break points and some of that, and then some timing stuff was a little different. The ability not to cut, in college you can
Yeah.
cut, which was, awesome, unless you're a defense guy. But we changed a little bit of that, but some of it was just simple stuff like, instead of running a route at 10 yards, we have to run it at 8. I
Right.
mean, just because our guy's not fast enough and it doesn't time up. But now we've got some kids we adjust every year because we got a kid that's pretty special wide receiver. Is was all state as a sophomore, all state as a junior. Be a senior next year, and we can run about anything we want with him, and it usually looks pretty good. But that was kind of the thing. And then defensively, I know that Coach Patempo, we did just work on the adjustments on landmarks and stuff, just speed wise. But it's been good.
Mhm.
I mean, it's been nice with the. I mean, I think Mount Zion's a pretty special place, just
Mhm.
support wise, and the athletes and the kids we have, and so we've been able to do a lot of the same stuff that we were doing in college, and continue to do that. And I mean, that's where we get most of our stuff and our resources, or college coaches and buddies, and we talk to them and see what they're doing and kind of the unique stuff in college. And then we say, okay, how do we implement in ours, and how do we do it with high school kids, and what can we do and what can't we do, and that's really kind of this time of the year is we go and we spend some time with some friends, and we talk to them and try to get some ideas. We get one thing here or there from each staff, and then we just try to say, all right, how do we make this for our kids? And that's really what we've been doing for the last 8 years, and it works.
Yeah, because I remember first year at Charleston, we played Mount Zion, and they were up tempo, go as fast as they possibly could go. Fastest thing on turf is what they called them, and they were fast. We went there and boom, 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 killed us. You guys took over, and I remember it was slowed down a little bit. Like I think sometimes you huddled up the whole line and stuff like that. It was
Oh
a little
yeah.
bit different. Yelled it from the sideline type of stuff. It was a little different.
Yeah, and we've changed, and we've every year we kind of look at it. We look at, I think those years we had Sage Davis was running back.
Hmm.
We moved down there, and Sage was, really good, all state kid for us. He was like 220, 225 tailback who could run. So we were, more, hey, we're going to slow it down. We're going to, grind it out. And, that was another thing, college and high school is how fast games were.
Yeah,
In college, I mean, you're talking 60 minutes. High school is 48,
yeah,
and high school game is so much faster. I mean, if you can really control the clock, it's amazing. College games were so long, and I mean, you could control the clock and still get beat by 3, 4 touchdowns,
right,
because the game was so long.
right.
But now every year we've looked at it and we do a little different, and we go some up tempo stuff, and it just kind of depends on what our quarterback can do and what our receivers can do, and if we're good enough to do it, then we try to stay no huddle, move our kids around, and change our tempo, and throughout the game. But yeah, those first couple of years here, we lined up. We were going to run power, and we were going to
Mhm.
run inside zone, and our kid was really good, and we gave it to him a lot, and it worked out for us.
Yeah, I think it was 2017 you took over, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. Did you have a kid going to Illinois State? Was that the quarterback? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
Brandon Price. Yeah, he went to
Yeah.
Illinois State, and he played there for a little bit, and then ended up at Marion, in Indiana. And was there, but he was like 6'5", and he could move, and
Mhm.
Then we had the cool kid that was a wide receiver,
Yep.
Charles, and we had Peyton Chappell who ended up going to Quincy. And he was our linebacker, and he actually broke the Quincy all-time tackles record. He ended up being, I think he played like 6 years of college because of COVID in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, he was, and then we had a kid go to Linwood, St. Charles, Missouri, and play tight end down there. So we had some pretty talented kids that year, and we've over the years here we've had some really talented kids, and
Hmm.
we've got a couple right now that we're getting a lot of traffic in and getting to see a lot of coaches.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. When you took a picture with Bielema, I'm like, oh, there he is, large and in charge, coming to Mount Zion.
He did it. So those 3 weeks there, the kids, coaches could be out and about, and that
Yeah.
was the Friday. He wanted to come at the end of the day on Friday, after school. He wanted to be the last school in, to see our guy, and he came himself. And
Hmm.
he said, "Hey, I want to be the last one in here. I want to see your kid. We think he's a priority for us, and we really like him." So. It was a cool deal, and he's a great guy. I mean,
Yeah.
down to earth, and just it was fun. I mean, the community liked it. I mean, kids had taken pictures with him in the hallway. I mean, it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome for everybody, and they really like one of our kids, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I went, my buddy coached at Westville, and they had a kid that was going to their lineman camp 2 summers ago. And the kid invited me to go watch too for some reason because I helped. He would call me. Something was going on with the coaching staff, and the kid would always reach out to me. And I'm like, do what your coaches say. I don't know why you're asking me. I don't know anything. But he invited me to go, and we're in Memorial Stadium watching this, and you hear this voice. And me and my friend were like, what? It's just Bielema walking in, and he's not yelling, he's just talking. His voice just goes.
Yeah,
And he wasn't yelling, never was yelling, but we could hear every word he was saying. And so that's where I came up with the large and in charge. He was just his voice just carried.
yeah, and he's a large guy. I mean, he's a large guy, and I mean, I think I mean, if you're a Division I head coach, and at that level, I mean, you've got a little bit of swag and a little something that other guys don't. I mean, there's a reason that
Mhm.
he's in charge, and but I mean, he's a good guy, and I think they're doing the right things over there, and hopefully they get some more success this year. Last year was a little bit of a tough end for them in the year, but I think they got things going the right direction.
Yeah, yeah, they do. I was supposed to talk to Bart Miller yesterday, but our schedule didn't line up right. I've talked to him before, but I love him. He's a great O-line coach. If any O-lineman could go, I'm like, play for that guy.
Yeah, I saw him at the clinic a couple years ago. He did a great job, and he's just a lot of those old line guys are like kind of the same, and they're
Yeah,
fun to listen to, and they do things a certain way, and they love it. And I mean, you gotta love individual, and you gotta love being around those guys for long periods of time. And yeah, he did a great job presenting when I saw him.
yeah. So now it's time to tell you something when I was at Charleston. You might get mad, you might not. You took over in 2017, and one of the first things people in Charleston on staff were like, well, just because he coached in college, it means I coach in high school. And I was the outside guy. I was not born and raised there. And I stood there and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, really? And then you guys beat us. I remember I was the jackass. I was like, huh. And I sat back and I'm like, you can't coach in high school, right? And I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. Like, I couldn't believe it. And so then the next year, we go to your guys' place. You knew I was having struggles and you're talking to me. And I thought people thought it was like disrespectful. You talked to me more than the head coach. And they were like, shouldn't the head coaches talk? And I'm like, no, they don't have to. Like, they don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I mean, I don't. I mean, like in college, there was like preset times and stuff.
Right.
Like head coach meeting and that. But in high school, I think it's really I mean, I talk more to some assistants all the time. Guys that and guys that get to know over the years. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're not a whole lot. High school head coach. I don't know what you're going to talk about and cover. That's there's no driving for film exchange. It's all in huddle. There's
Yeah.
everybody's usually been the same schools, and they've got video set up and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just everybody's a little different. I mean, some head coaches don't even talk to anyone. They just
No.
go about their deal, which is fine. And
Yeah. I just thought you'd find that funny because then I'll
yeah,
never forget. I think you guys were winning 8-0, and I'm all pumped up. I'm like, oh my God, like this is a good school, and it's only 8-0. So we go in at halftime, and I remember they're like, we got to keep doing the same thing. And I said, no, they're going to adjust very well and things are going to change and blah, blah. And you guys did. You guys came out and adjusted and just kind of wore us down a little bit. And I'm just like, guys, like they were in college for a reason. They're good at adjustments at halftime. Like he's going to do something different. I think you guys just were like, you know what? If I remember, I like, hey, we're going to run RPO stuff and they can't stop it. And we couldn't. And I'm like, and you guys just brought the house on defense. It's like, we're going to blitz this guy. I was a young OC and I'm like, oh, here we go. And
Yeah,
I forget that.
I mean, I'm sure, some people have, probably had some different opinions, going from college to high school and all that. And, I think I think we do things the right way. And I think, we've had some success the way we do it. I mean, I'm sure we've lost some games that, we probably shouldn't have and won some games we probably shouldn't have. So, but I remember one time we were at Charleston. I don't know I think it was that year that it rained so bad, that there was water standing, maybe in the next year, or maybe a couple
I'm
years down the road.
Yeah, I was gone, but that was the year you could tell I was done. I was like, I gotta go. But yeah,
There's enough water standing on that field that I was worried one of the kids could drown on that thing. But uh, I mean, it's been good. I mean, again, I'm lucky. I got, one of my best friend who's been coaching with me for 13 years, and then I got guys who played college for me, and I mean, it's awesome. It's a great setup, and we're lucky, and we got some talented kids.
yeah. Because you might be. I remember 2017 you came in, it was muddy. That field does not hold water well
Oh,
whatsoever.
no,
And
it was bad.
I got told by Coach Hogan it was after that Final Four run or even the 2012 run they had. It was proposed to get turf, and the superintendent goes, "No, natural grass is the way to go," and so they never got it. And that the year before that, or what was that year? Rantoul came to play us. It rained for like an hour before the game. We had to push the game back to like 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And we went out there and there was water everywhere. We won 14-8. And I ran the ball every play in the third and fourth quarter. There was no passing. It was we're gonna run.
Yeah. I mean, I was, I was at Millikin for years and we had, grass, and I mean, we had some games where, I mean, same deal. I mean, you know, schools we went to had turf,
Mhm.
Naperville and Carthage, I think was the first one CCIW turf. And that was in like early 2000, probably before that. And, Millikin didn't get it until late. And, there's a difference. And there's I think there's an advantages to having it. I mean, I tell people all the time, best thing about turf is practice. You never
Yep.
have to worry about the field changing. I mean, it's always the same condition. Doesn't matter if it rains, it snows. If it rains 2 inches, you're still going to go out there. It's the same surface,
Right.
and that's huge,
Right.
especially in football. I mean, geez,
Oh
you don't
yeah.
have to worry about it. And then, we're lucky we got a field house, so I
Yeah.
mean, when it rains or lightnings, we can go inside
Yeah.
and have a regular practice and not miss a beat. And that's another big advantage, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. We're at Addison, when I got there, there was a part of me that's like, why are they not winning? Because we have two turf fields. We have the game field and then a side one and an indoor track. And I'm like, this is set up to like do a lot of good things, but we're trying to get it there. But I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what the hell? We're the only school with two, I think, up here for the most part. Like, not even Naperville schools have that. I live in Naperville. Like, they don't have it.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. And I mean, it's much about facilities, but it really comes down to, hey, you got the right kids, and the kids believing it, and the kids doing the stuff. And that's the where the difference comes in. But you know, we're lucky down here. We got some nice stuff, and our kids are appreciative of it.
Yeah. Like I keep it's a broken record, but every sport we played Mount Zion in was like the same. We knew they were going to be athletic, we knew they were going to be tough, and just because they're taking advantage of the indoor facility, the weight room, and all that stuff, it was like they're all on the same page right now, and they were always tough.
Yeah, and really, honestly, like right now, I mean, our boys and girls athletics are doing some things. I mean, boys track got a state trophy a few years ago. I think they
Mhm.
got fourth or third, tied for third or something. And football we've been pretty good. And then basketball, I mean, we're 31-1, and in the sectionals. And I mean, it's just it feeds on itself. I mean, kids want
Right.
success, they know what it takes, and then you start having success, and it continues. And we're lucky we're having it in all the sports. And and then you look, it's the same kids, same kids running in track, or the same kids, starting basketball, and same kids starting football. And, again, that's, school our size, that's what you want. I'd much rather see that than, a kid just do one thing,
Right.
and not help out. And, and we couldn't be successful if our kids just did one sport. Our kids, our other sports are, wouldn't be successful. So it's fun to watch, and it's fun to see those kids. And, it's great for the community, because then the little kids go and they watch the kid play football, and then they go watch the kid play basketball. Then they go and they see him in the track, and or pitching, or, doing things. And, then the kids want to do that. Little kids, they want to be in all the sports. And so then, you don't have to tell them, hey, you got to specialize in just one. You can continue to do it all and be successful. I mean, Braden Trimble's our junior receiver that's all-state football kid. He starts on the basketball team, and he's an all-state track kid as a freshman, sophomore, and should be as a junior. And he's placed in state in the triple jump, the high jump, and relays. And and then he starts on our basketball team. I mean, so that's those are the kind of kids you want. And then he's also a 4.0 GPA kid, and like the greatest kid ever. And I tell coaches a story that for Halloween, my kids, I got a 11-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. They wanted to dress as Braden Trimble, so they fought over the number 11 jersey. We got to be Braden for Halloween, and that's the kind of kid he is. And and he's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that. Because I think you guys greet the grade school every Friday morning or something.
Yeah, so we started doing the High Five Friday, and we took it from Jake Palmer over at Fisher. The
Yeah, yeah.
bunnies over there. Jake was doing that, and Jake played for me at Millikin. And I reached out and I'm like, hey, tell me about this. And he told me about it, and then we started doing it, and then we stopped for COVID, and then now we started doing it again. And we go down there and we take a mini bus, and our athletic director is doing it this year because I don't have first hour prep. And he takes kids, and now he's taking, we take different sports, and they go down, they high five the kids, and they come in. And it's huge. And you talk about just seeing the smile on kids' faces, and then the kids see our football kids and our basketball kids, and they see their faces, and it's
Mhm.
awesome. And
Yeah.
it's a cool deal.
What's the relationship like with the youth program? I can't. I know at Charleston was just one. Like it was the JFL. Like what's that relationship like?
No, it's good. I mean, we got our JFL program, and I mean, that's really important for us, varsity wise. But I mean, we have, kindergartners all the way up through eighth graders are doing stuff. And, we got flag, and I mean, our flag football games, and we got people. I mean, there's so many kids playing flag football. My first graders in flag football, and I coached last year. And, it's good. And we got some guys coaching there who's, that played college, and played different levels. And then we got a lot of parents who, some of them played football for us, and Millikin, some of them played here. And so I mean, it's just good. It's what you want. I mean,
Right.
kids are involved, and they're buying in, they know the importance of it. And it's good. It's helping us, and it's continue to increase our numbers. I believe that we'll continue to stay over 100 kids, is for the foreseeable future.
Again, send them on up this way if you get too many.
I could
So
send you some.
tell them if they want to start right away, send them right on up. We'll
I
make it
think
happen.
again, I don't think they're a huge fan of the traffic. You
Well,
know,
that's the best part about Naperville and all that. We're not by Chicago. People think I live in Chicago. I'm like, guys, I'm in DuPage County. I'm like an hour and a half away. I can't even see the city from here. It's good.
that is good. That's good.
Now Addison's closer, so that's a whole other story. But where I live, I don't have to deal with all that. Our first game was at Lane Tech in the city. That was our first round playoff game. That place was awesome. I'll tell you. We didn't even play Lane Tech. We played Lincoln Park, but in the Chicago public schools, there's only so many fields.
Oh yeah.
It was right by Harry Wood Field that they built there. It was right next to it. And traffic there, we don't have to take the bus. It's the head coach and OC goes, the rest of you can drive. And we're like, thank God. And we drove there, traffic. And I'm like, I hate this because you're going into the city. I'm like, I hate this. I hate this so much. I like the suburbs where there's no traffic.
Yeah. Well, I remember we used to recruit up there, and I remember you'd have to leave so early to go to schools because you didn't
Oh,
know how bad the traffic would be. And we used to stay in the city and then go to the suburbs to recruit, and kind
yep.
of try to do reverse traffic. But Yeah, I don't miss that at all.
I tell people in Central Illinois, there's only two reasons why there's traffic. There's a tractor, or it's the 2 lane road and there's a wreck, but then you have to drive in the grass to get around it.
Yeah,
Like, and they're like, "What
yeah,
do you
I
mean
mean,
driving the grass?" I'm like, "I could park in my front yard down at home."
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's we live about it takes me 4 minutes to get to work, and it's about 2 miles, one stop sign. So
Oh,
it's just it's a great thing. My wife works in Springfield, so it takes her 45 minutes to get to Springfield. It's all
yeah.
interstate, no traffic, doesn't have to worry about anything. So it's just different.
Oh yeah, it takes me 20 minutes, but I know I have to leave at 6:45. If I don't leave before 6:45, it might take me 25 minutes, and then if I wait later, it might take me whatever. 4 lane road, I-88 to 355. I gotta get to work, but I become a Chicagoan driver on that thing, man. I'm just weaving in. It's changed because I
Yeah.
had to. I have to.
Yeah, no, I recruited up there for years, and I don't miss that at all.
Oh, every day I'm like, oh, our head coach lives in Lockport, so he drives 45 minutes a day to get to work. But even in Lockport, he said it's crazy because like he drives by Naperville to get there. And I've been to his house. If you go down there, you wouldn't know you're in a suburb because people down there are some country like people. So it's crazy, even though you're getting close because you're getting closer to I-80, and that's the
Yeah,
difference. And I'm like, it's so crazy up here that I could go from this town where it's pinkies up and they're all like this. And I could drive 20 minutes this way. And I'm like, oh, I feel at home. There's corn, like Oswego, there's cornfields or this and that. And it's just,
even the Lincoln ways,
yeah,
even the Lincoln ways are out there far enough that it doesn't feel like that. It feels like
uh,
normal. Besides the schools are huge,
yeah,
but I mean, yeah. Once you get a little farther south, I mean, it's like being around here.
yeah. What's the school? Manuka. Manuka's like that. It's a big school. They're good at football, but they are surrounded by nothing but country and stuff. The town itself is a little big, but that's a school where I'm like, this is just like Champaign-ish area, like down there.
Yeah, it is. And then I mean, you go even farther, you start getting like Morris and
Yeah,
even like Bradley Bourbonnais. I mean,
yeah.
Bradley's far enough out. They were in their own city, but they got some nice stuff, and we got some really talented kids there, and the Cole brothers do a great job.
Oh yeah. And so does Kankakee. When you get by Kankakee, it's the same thing. Like because they're
Yeah,
right by each other. I've learned
yeah,
all the areas up here too. Some people say to school, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is.
yeah,
Or
yeah. You got to.
or we played basketball at Hononegah all the way up there one time. All drove all the way up to Hononegah by Wisconsin. And I'm like, oh my God, that place is awesome. Their weight room is in their field house and it looks over the outdoor facilities. Like, but it's country-ish. Like, and we took the Nequa kids up there, and the head coach is like, guys, these guys are gonna be tough. They're gonna be talented, but they're gonna push you around. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're like, oh, set a pick and send them flying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Antioch and up in that area,
Oh yeah.
Barrington, there's some tough kids and tough football up there too.
Canelan too. Canelan, that's the school. There,
Yeah.
you want to talk about like a Mount Zion type of thing? Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah. Those I mean, you get up there and by the border there, those kids are pretty tough.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Um, one last things I know about here a while. Who does your strength and conditioning? Is it you? Do you take care of the weight room? Do you have somebody else doing that?
It's me and Coach Patempa. So we have him and I are in the building. Dave Clem is in the building, our head wrestling coach, and Coach Clem is a coaches football, but he is a Hall of Fame wrestler.
Okay.
And he does our power training during PE.
Okay.
In the after school is myself and Coach Patempa, and Coach Patempa really spearheads that thing for us, and really researches it. Um, he teaches chemistry during the day, but he does a great job, researching and trying to find like what's going to help our guys, what can we do, and we've really even over the last couple of years have revamped it and done
Uh-huh.
different things and have gone to some different things and trying some new things that we think are going to help our kids. And then again, we're lucky all our sports work together.
Right.
So our track coach is working with us, and we try to do some stuff with them. And then in the summer, us in basketball, we'll make sure the lift that the basketball kids can lift with us, and they can do the same stuff. And we try to just do it. So I mean, trying to get our kids bigger, stronger, and faster, and really trying to make them better athletes. And we try to do stuff agility wise on the field, and we go to, we go out to colleges, different colleges. We see what they're doing. See, I mean, everything from like our warm up. We changed our warm up a couple years ago because we went out to Kansas. We saw what they were doing, and we're like, hey, that's pretty cool, and that's
Yeah.
easy, and we can do that in high school. And a lot of times you go to like college practice, you can watch them, and you're like, that's a really cool drill, but they got like five student assistants.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we got none.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, but we found some stuff like strength wise that we really implemented in the stretching that where it's like, hey, this is easy. We can do this at our place and it doesn't change. And it's kind of the same, we go to places like, all right, can we do that in high school? Can
Yeah.
we, do we need seven ball boys like they have to run one drill? And it's wild, but it's fun to go and it's fun to do. But yeah, Coach Potemp has really spearheaded it, and then him and I are in the weight room after school. And in the summer, we got a couple other of our coaches there, and we're like most schools. I mean, we got coaches that are firefighters,
Uh-huh.
policemen, um, chiropractor. I mean, we got it all,
Yeah.
and so it's just working around their schedules.
I was gonna say, I didn't know if you have changed it over time, like up here because of Coach Holler right at Plainfield, right down the street. It's the speed stuff, so things have changed, and I'm trying to change it. Our head coach played linebacker at North Central, so he has a little different mindset than everybody else. But I'm the guy that's trying to like come in and change it a little bit, not take away weights, but I'm more focused on speed. So I didn't know if you guys have adapted that over time.
No, we have. I think back in the day, I mean, it was just, hey, we're going to see how big our kids can get and, how bulky they can get.
Yeah,
And it was all about strength. And really nobody talked about flexibility and speed and all that. But I mean, it's changed over time. I mean, people are like, would you rather have, a really fast team or a really strong team? And it's, I mean, those really fast kids are, really hard to catch.
yeah,
So we've done that, and I know Tony Holler. I mean, just from reading in the articles and watching the stuff he puts on, Twitter. I mean, he's doing some pretty cool stuff, and I mean, I think we probably do a little bit of each, and we
yeah,
try to just figure out how to do it,
yeah,
make it work. But I mean, it's some kids just are naturally talented. I mean,
yeah,
and it doesn't make a huge difference, but the faster the kids are and the faster their kids are playing, it makes a huge difference.
yeah. Because he's
And
right.
I'm sure that your coach, when he's at North Central, they had some kids that were
Oh yeah,
really good.
yes, they
They
did.
had some runs there that were pretty impressive.
Yeah, he said they were kind of good, and then he was like the guy that kind of helped. Thorne was just there, and then he played linebacker. Our head coach is not very tall, but he's a meathead. And then now they've got it rolling over here, and it's our kids are like, well, I'll just go play at North Central, and he's like, no, 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 that's not how it works anymore. Like you can't just go play at North Central. Like,
No, I mean they were good, and then they got really good.
yeah, I worked at East Aurora, and the head coach, me and him are the same age. He played at North Central, and he was a running back, and he was good. He tried to walk on with tried to play with the Bears. He went there, tried it, didn't work out, and he still looks like a running back. And he goes, and I was small compared to some of these guys.
Yeah, they were good, and then they've kind of gone the next level. I mean, I think the big thing was I don't know if you when the year they beat Mount Union in the playoffs, they beat Mount Union in the semifinals
Yeah,
at Mount Union. I think that was kind of the turning point, and
yeah,
that's really from that point on they've really been at a next level and talent wise, and the kids are getting. And I mean, we got kids that have gone up there and look. One of our coaches played up there, and I mean, it's just now they've got it rolling.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And it's right by Naperville Central. They're right connected to each other. I live like 12-ish minutes away from Naperville Central. I can go there anytime I want. And you drive by there. I mean, it's a small North Central is a small campus. You drive by that football thing, and it's like, wow, like
Yeah.
this is awesome for Division 3. This is awesome.
Yeah. And then you can walk to all that restaurants and stuff around the corner there. And,
Yep.
and I mean, that whatever the little triangle or whatever area it is, I mean, it's really nice.
Yeah. Um, but he has a different mindset. So we're not full feed the cats thing. I'm trying to get it there. So I took it just myself and I said, okay, oh lineman, we're not going to hit today. We're just going to work on pads. We're going to do this. We're not hitting as much. My pregame, I used to have them hit, and I'm like, guys, we're just going to walk through the plays really quick, literally walk, then go stand on the sideline and do nothing. And I remember the head coach was like, "What are you doing in practice? They're not doing one-on-ones, they're not doing this." And I'm like, "No, I don't want them to hit here. Go practice defense right after and have to hit again. Do inside run, do team. We're just not doing that." And I had my old lineman stayed healthy the entire year except for one kid because he got rolled up on. And I'm like, that's just a freak thing. And at halftime, my old lineman would be like, we feel pretty good. Like we're not tired. And so I've taken that approach because back in the days, like we're gonna hit all the time. Pregame, we're gonna hit all the time. Not no, no.
We don't. I think we wore full pads in practice maybe 5 times in the 8 years we've been here.
Oh wow.
And we're helmets, shoulder pads, and then like girdles. And really, and we just kind of the same deal. We just, we want our guys healthy on Friday,
Yep.
and we don't want anybody getting hurt Monday through Thursday. And we do enough tackling, enough hitting that we get them prepared, but we really want them fresh on Friday and feeling good. And
Yep.
I mean that's kind of the name of the game. I mean, if kids are getting beat up during the week, then they're not going to be as good. And if the
Yeah.
other team is completely healthy and you're beat up from your practice, and so I mean, I don't know if it's the right way to do things. I don't know if it's, but I mean, we do that and we have, and we keep it everything up during practice, and it's I think it's worked out, but everybody has different opinions.
Oh yeah. But then when I started doing it, everybody started doing it around me. That was the thing. I had to like be the one to like put my foot down and be like, this is what we're gonna do. Now, if I knew they weren't going to hit in defense and not do all that, then we might do it a little bit. But I had to like it was more pressure on me. Like, look at the game plan. What's defense doing? What's offense doing? And I mean, I like to think it was because of that. But my senior O lineman, he's been my starter since he was a sophomore. I remember like the third day we weren't hitting. He goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "Why haven't we like hit in practice? You used to be crazy. We had to do up downs. We had to do this. We had to do this." And I was like, "I'm not wasting my time. If you guys don't want to be here, you can sit down and wait till team. Like, I'm not doing it no more. Why waste the time?"
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I think everybody's kind of different approaches, but I mean, we want to, try to get our kids ready and use as much game stuff as we can, and make sure in practice they know what to do and they know how to do it, and then keep them healthy, and that's a big thing that we work on. And then this summer it's, hey, how do we get them strong enough and
Mhm.
healthy enough and flexible enough that they can withstand that, and then understand how we practice and why we do it. And really that's been a change for us over the years here, is our kids now understand it. And at first they didn't understand it, and we practice long practice, and we do both every day. Kids do offense defense every day, and I mean, it's different. I know some people practice 2 hours and they get everything done. And I mean, we practice long. We go our 3 hours, and we make sure we cover everything. And our kids, at first, they struggled, but now they understand it. Now they get it, and they know the why, and they know, why we cover everything. And I don't know, I mean, people probably think we're nuts, but it works. And it's, our kids know it now. So it's good.
Yeah, as long as they're healthy and you're getting it done. I mean, if we shortened our practices up, but that's because we simplified our defense and offense, and we're like, we could split things in half, do half this day, half this day. Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday could be our 2-minute drill, third down situations, fourth down situations. It just depends how you do it. And if they're
Yeah.
healthy, who cares?
Yeah, and that's what, I mean, I would love to practice shorter, but we don't think we can get everything covered, and with our kids playing both ways, I mean, it's,
Yep. Yep.
you just can't. And if everybody played one way in like college, shoot, we practiced 2.5 hours in college at the most, because we had an offense, defense, and that was it. Nobody
Yep.
played both ways, and it's everybody's doing special teams, so I mean it was fast, but high school's different, and we've adjusted, and I think it's worked for us.
That happened with like Lombard East. Sorry, this is the last thing. I promise.
No, you're fine.
Lombard East, I got there when I left Charleston. I wasn't going to coach again. I had such a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, I'm never doing this again. And in the suburbs up here, you drive by like York's Field is right there we were living in Elmhurst. You could see the field. I'm seeing social media, and I started doing this. I'm like itching. I'm like, well, I got to coach. The head coach at Lombard East coached at Charleston for Monken when he was the head coach. That was a long time ago. He saw on my resume that I was at Charleston, talked to me. We went and coached. He goes, "You're going to be the second O line coach. I'd love to have two O line coaches. You'll be the second one." I'm like, "Cool." I said, what do you want me to coach on defense? He goes, what? And I was like, what do you want me to coach on defense? He goes, no, 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 no. We have just an offensive staff, just defense staff, just an offense, just a defense. And I said, what? He goes, Steve, we'll be out of here in like 2 hours. Don't worry about it. And
Yeah.
that's what it was. And I'm like, oh my God. Like
Yeah.
college is split in half.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the deal. It's like, we all our guys, staff wise, coach offense and defense, except Coach Patempa is our defense coordinator, and I run our offense. So
Yeah.
I work with our quarterbacks and our kickers, punters during the defensive time, and then when I'm doing offense, he works with the kids that are only defensive guys. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, everybody else has got to coach both, and it's just how it is. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, college was awesome. Offensive staff, defensive staff, those guys never intermingled and competed against each other. And but then high school, everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows both sides, and I mean, it's different. And I think everybody wishes they could do it, one side and everybody play one way and work. But it'd be hard to take off our all-state receiver DB. It'd be hard to take him off on one side of the ball
Yeah.
and him only play 60 plays instead of 100.
Yeah.
It wouldn't seem right for her.
Yeah. No, I didn't know what defense we ran when I was at Lombard East. I had no clue. I knew we were 4-2-5. I couldn't tell you one call that was theirs. When they were on defense, the offense came off. We all sat in the chair, we all talked, then watched them. And there was
Yeah,
times I'm trying to figure out what they're doing, but like, no, I didn't know. People were like, I remember when I went to East Aurora the next year, they're like, well, what defense? Like, what was they doing? I was like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? I was like, I had no clue. Like, they did their thing, we did our thing, and that was it.
yeah,
I don't even think they knew what offense we ran.
two separate entities.
Oh, but it was awesome. I'm like, I loved it. A part of me didn't because I want to know everything. But looking back, I'm like, oh, it was awesome though. I only had to worry about one thing, which was the run game. That was it.
Yeah, yeah, makes a difference. And yeah, I mean, I think everybody wishes they're in the same boat. They could do it, but that's part of high school is fun. You could do both.
Yeah. Now I'm just the O line coach. I don't coach defense. We all of our kids mainly go both ways. But he wants me just to focus on that. And so what we do is varsity practices, I do it. Then when we flip flop, varsity does defense, JV does offense, and I could be down there with the JV O line coach and like help out. So I'm still doing it. So now those kids know who I am, everything else. And so that's kind of what we do. And then in the summer, I'll do O line. Then I go down with the defense and I just I coached D line before, obviously. So I'm like, I'll just help out here and there, grab the young kids and like, so I still get to do one thing, but I'm still dabbling in the other.
Yeah, and that's which is good. I get to do. I coach our DBs sometimes in the summer, and coach Tempa occasionally. I make him coach our running backs in the summer and during the season occasionally. And but it's fun. I mean, football's fun. It's awesome. If we didn't love it, we didn't enjoy what we're doing, we wouldn't do it. When we wouldn't put ourselves through the stress and the headaches, and
Mhm.
just for 48 minutes on Friday night. But it's there's a reason we do it.
Right. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking all this time to talk to me tonight. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's always good to catch up, some Charleston, stories. And,
Oh,
if there's ever anything we can do down here, just let us know.
and I'll tell you off recording other Carlson stories. Others I probably can't tell you.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.